Hey, everybody. Welcome back to Hey, Sister Girl. We're so glad that you are here with us tonight. We are honored tonight to welcome our special guest, a deeply inspiring person and who has used storytelling to change lives. This is Charles Mattocks. Hey, Charles.
Hey, how are you?
Good, good. So, Charles is an award winning filmmaker. He's an advocate and creator of various health focused documentary series on diabetes, chronic illness, longevity, and now he's getting into the topic of menopause. And this is a life stage that affects every woman and oftentimes goes ignored. So, of course, you guys know my name is Robyn Herron, and I am your carnivorous grandma and a life coach, health coach. And I'm not sure if G is going to be able to join us tonight. She's on the ship. As you guys know, sometimes we get some technical difficulties when it comes to ship time.
Mhm.
So, we'll see if she joins us. We'll be happy to see her, but otherwise, we're going to move forward with Charles. So, I want to mention that Charles's work has been featured on major media outlets and has helped millions rethink how we approach health. Tonight, we're going to talk about his journey, how he got into health advocacy, and why he's passionate about menopause awareness, what he's learned about resilience, transformation, and women's health. So, we're going to transition over to you, Charles. We're so happy that you are here with us tonight. So,
Thank you.
tell us a little bit about yourself, introduce yourself, and just let us know a little bit about you.
Oh man, I can go on. I don't even know where to start. I can go on for days. But I would say over the last few years, it's I've really been an advocate since I was diagnosed with type 2 diabetes about maybe like 13 years ago,
Mhm.
14 years ago. And I use that advocacy to create programs that feature people who are living with conditions, right? I figured the best way to do some fishing is fish out of a barrel instead of fish out of a lake.
All
So
right.
if we are trying to reach someone with diabetes or someone living with menopause, what better way to reach them than to create a series that features those people who are living with the conditions where they can talk about the ups, the downs, where they can share, where they can laugh, where they can cry, where they can be educated, where they can be inspired.
Mm-hmm.
And now you have this beautiful smorgasbord, if we, so to speak, of just entertainment, education, and awareness. So it's been a great ride. A ride I wish at times it was a little bit easier because of the industry and the business of healthcare. But we keep turning them out and keep changing lives.
It's so incredible. The first show that I did see that you did was a series on type reverse. I think it was called Reversed,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So that was about reversing type 2 diabetes. Absolutely incredible stuff. I feel like, kind of back then was before anybody was talking about the fact that type 2 diabetes could be reversed. It was just a few people shouting into the void about.
Well, you know what's interesting? I don't even think there were a few people shouting in the void. I think that we were ahead of our time, and the
Yes.
name reversed actually meant it was about reversing the mental, physical, and spiritual state of the person, and that would activate other changes, right?
Mhm.
Because we all know what we should and shouldn't be eating, right? But in order to get to a person, at times you have to get to them mentally, emotionally, and spiritually so that they can make these changes. And once you got that, they would eventually look at their lives, look at their situation, look at their health, look at what they were eating, look at their husbands, look at their wives, look at their children, and they would eventually make that change if the right circumstances came to pass. But I remember doing that series and getting a ton of flack because once again,
Mhm.
it was called reversed, and we never talked about reversing diabetes. I actually stayed away from even mentioning that because at that point it was a taboo. I remember doing interviews, and man, Robin, I've seen them come, I've seen them go.
Mhm.
And I remember doing an interview with the interviewer, and I probably said about 6 times. Listen, this is not about reversing type 2 diabetes. It's not about reversing diabetes. It's about educating the person and giving them awareness and hope. And man, even after all of that, they still wrote about it in such a way like it was about reversing diabetes. And back then, sometimes you got to walk with tippy toes, even though you're working with certain people, just so you don't shake up the system, right? Because
Mm-hmm.
we need that money to do a series. And if we're
Right.
ahead of the time and talking about reversing diabetes, and we're looking for a per se a pharma company to give us money, that's not in the best interest to talk about reversing type 2 diabetes, right? So
Right.
sometimes I feel like Robin Hood, where we create these programs, you know, to work with some of these people that I might not even like, but I know they have the money to do it because
Yeah.
who else is going to cut a check? Um, so yeah, and I remember too as well, not to get off topic, but one of the sponsors actually had a big platform come out there. I didn't even know who the platform was, but they're a big platform. Forgot the name of them, but really big platform. And man, Robin, they didn't even see the series. They tore into me
Oh my.
before they were there, and you could the whole crew and the cast was just on eggshells because you could see they came with a purpose. Matter of fact, it was
Mhm.
statues, and they came with a purpose, and that purpose, I don't know, was to shoot down the idea that diabetes could be reversed or whatever it may be. And man, they lit into me in that interview never before, and I don't even know what I did. So it's been an interesting ride.
Yeah, that the funny thing is when I watched the reversed series,
Yeah.
I always thought it was about reversing type 2 diabetes
Wow. Yeah.
because first of all, the people you had on there.
No, and you're right. It was, but I didn't want to say that
But
part
you
out.
want to say that. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah. So yeah, I understand what you're saying. And so, being a health advocate is just so powerful.
Yeah.
And really, we have learned since then type 2 diabetes is easily reversible,
Yep.
like
Yep.
so easy and so fast. It's crazy,
Yep.
so it's really, really interesting.
Yep.
So you
Yep.
mentioned that your own type 2 diabetes diagnosis
Yeah.
played a role in the shift for you into health advocacy.
Yep.
So how did that experience influence your approach to telling other people's health stories?
Yeah. I think that it scared me to death because I thought I was healthy. I thought I was living healthy. And
Hmm.
Robin, I think a lot of us do. And I think, looking back now, food addiction, and I didn't realize this until probably about 2 years ago about me having a food addiction. Because, when we think of food addiction or we think of addiction, we think, somebody's running around, cracked out and running around in the streets trying to find something to smoke,
Hmm.
and it's not that. It's something very sinister. And I look back at that time, and I was making some horrible health choices, and didn't even realize it at all because if you're not into this space, if you're not into health, you don't really do a whole lot of studying, and you're young and fresh, and you don't think anything is going to hit you. You could run 10 miles, you can jump
Hmm.
across a river, so when I look back now, I was in the gym a lot, but Robin, I did no cardio. I was one of those guys who I was, big and bulky and had a little tummy and then I used to drink ginger ale because I thought it was healthier because it
Hmm.
had ginger in it.
Yes,
The
yes.
most bizarre thing that I could think of. So when I was diagnosed, it was shocking, and it was pushing a drug on me by a person who wasn't even my doctor,
Hmm.
and who himself was probably about 70 pounds overweight. And I thought this can't be right. So I basically took it upon myself to, back then it wasn't as much information. So long story short, I took it upon myself and I said, I'm going to follow God's diet. And that was lean meat, some simple fruits and vegetables, a lot of water. And
Hmm.
I probably lost 20 pounds in 15 days. And literally it's been running ever since, but then got into the business of really awareness, because I started to make a documentary called The Diabetic You, which is out now, a beautiful documentary. And I just saw things that even to till this day, Robin, that just shake me up, where I'm like, how is this possible in healthcare? Why is this
Hmm.
going on? What is damaged? And it's unbelievable, the stuff that I've seen and the people I've talked to, and the dealings that I deal with every day. It's unbelievable.
You know, the funny thing is that a lot of people think about this type of conversation as like conspiracy theories
Yeah,
around what is going on with our healthcare, pharmaceutical, food chain system, you
yeah,
know, kind of all this, back and forth between them.
yeah,
But it really is, it's a huge problem for us as consumers,
yeah,
that we have this handshaking going on between these different organizations. And, I'm not even call it organizations, like
yeah.
these big conglomerates,
Um,
right, that
yeah,
are handshaking behind the scenes
yeah,
and making us all extremely sick in the process.
yeah, yeah,
It's
yeah. That
really sad.
it's unbelievable, to be honest with you.
Yes. So I'd like to talk about the connection, because now you've gone from diabetes, and now I haven't seen this new documentary. Is it out yet?
No, it's coming out soon. It's coming out.
Okay, all right. I'll be looking for that.
Yeah.
And now you're doing menopause. So are there threads that connect these projects, or like in your mind, is this a single thread? How does this play out?
Yeah, the thing is that when I created the reverse diabetes series, I realized that, oof, you know what? I when I first created, I thought, man, I'm gonna, all, and this was a different time when actually these companies were, more generous and pushing the agenda of diabetes, and they were big spokespersons and all this kind of stuff like this, and there was just a lot more interest in promoting diabetes. And when I did the first one, I thought, Robin, I thought, man, I'm going to clean up. This is going to be a walk in the park. And when I tell you, I reached out to everyone from dialysis companies to pharma companies to you name it, and nobody was interested. I
Wow.
got fortunate with one lead from a company called Mankind that makes an inhaled insulin, and they were just brought in a new CEO and so on and so forth, and he bit. Um, so that's how we were able to get that off the ground, which aired on Discovery. But after that, I wanted to follow up. And I'm like, okay, well, this first one is out. It's a great one. It was a hit in many ways.
Hmm.
And once again, I'm bucking up against this industry that's not looking to change. But I realized that I had created a formula, that
Hmm.
this formula could fit any condition.
Wow.
And I didn't want to limit myself by saying, okay, well, if I can't jump into diabetes, then what? I'm going to give up? No. Um, as a young brother hustler from New York, man, we gotta keep it moving. So we looked at other condition states and said, like as we do now, what am I passionate about? What fits this? And all the projects that I do have some sort of meaning behind it, uh,
Hmm.
or attachment to it. So, like, we did a beautiful series on cancer. My father passed from cancer in
Mm.
2016. So that was the motivating factor for me to create a series on cancer. And we've just been rocking it. We've done a series on keto. We've done a series on carnivore. We've done a series
Mhm.
on, HIV. We've done a series on disparities. We've done a series, so we've been killing this thing. And so it was really a formula that we created. And now looking at that formula, a friend of mine was dealing with menopause a few years ago. And
Mm-hmm.
I remember her dealing with some mental health um, issues. And I kind of looked into menopause, and I realized that, there's almost a billion women dealing with menopause, and there's little to no advocacy. Um,
Right.
so I said, you know what? Let's see if we can make something happen. And of course, same thing. You're excited about reaching out to these big companies, thinking that this company has a drug coming out on menopause. There's no way they're gonna turn this down.
They
Uh,
want that drug to come out.
yeah, what you want
You
that?
can't
Well,
take it.
because remember, this is just about awareness. So if they've got a
Mm-hmm.
drug, what better way? They need to team up with us because they could reach millions of people
Mm-hmm.
to target with their drug. And man, it's unbelievable what you have to go, what I have to deal with. I mean, even today, I wrote I have a new platform called Revoke, and I wrote
Mm-hmm.
a piece on that included sleep, because we're working with sleep disorders,
Oh,
a
that's
series on
good.
sleep disorders. And we reached out to the biggest company, ResMed, that makes billions from what the internet said.
Yeah.
And this lady hit us back, said they don't have a budget. And I'm like, hold on now. You don't even know well, hold on. Even if it's $1,000, not that we're looking for $1,000, but
Right.
I would appreciate going to the petty cash draw, the lunch money draw.
Right.
You guys make billions of dollars, and you could reach a few million people that could end up translating into bringing in another, $100 million. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Small investment. You're telling me you don't have a budget? You ain't got $500 to say, hey, Charles, you know what? We don't want nothing to do with this, but here's $500. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah.
So
Right.
I'm baffled by this.
It's so interesting looking at it from your perspective, as basically I'm just a grandma, and I have my lifestyle changer friend over here, G,
Yeah,
and we are over here trying to tell people that you don't need that medicine. You can
yeah,
get off the CPAP machine.
yeah,
And the big companies that could help people change their lives are like, we don't got $5 to help you.
yeah. No, no, no. And you know what? We're about bringing that message too. So once again, I'll take their money, but we will
Hmm.
have segments on the show that talk about natural ways to change your life and natural things you can do
Yes.
to improve your health and all of that. So, but
Yep.
yeah, it's they really don't care. They really don't care. And now, even if you look at, I was just reading some stuff on Ozempic, and you look at that, and you're like, you know what? These companies, they have. And I remember a lawyer that was featured in one of our documentaries. He said, Charles, he said they put billions aside for being sued, right?
Hmm.
But if you look at some of these companies, they make, I forget, Ozempic had made, like, I forget, I want to say either 30 billion or $60 billion, something like that. So if you make 30 billion,
Hmm.
put 10 billion aside for all the lawsuits, you still walked away with $20 billion.
Yeah. Right.
They're prepared for the casualties of war, and for those who they know this is going to affect, because all of us are made different, our DNA is made different, our bodies are made different. That what may work okay for me, as far as if I use Ozempic, may not bother me as much as it bothers somebody else with a different chemistry makeup in their body. um,
Hmm.
so they're prepared that this is what they're going to have to do. So
Yeah.
they're not friends of us. So the work that you're doing, and the information really needs to be out there, so people can wake up, and also you know realize that if you don't make these right decisions in your life, that there are dire consequences, right? Even to go back to reversed. uh,
Hmm.
if you saw, I remember Roger, who was featured on the show, and his wife, Lisa.
Hmm.
Roger showed up half a leg, smoking a cigarette. And unfortunately, because Roger didn't make those changes, I want to say about 8, 9 months later, he died from diabetes complications.
Wow.
Now, Lisa, who had made some amazing changes, she went on the carnivore diet, lost probably about 60 pounds, 40, 50, 60 pounds, was doing amazing. And she had some setbacks recently. And these are setbacks that are normal behavior for most of us, right? Because we love to eat and we love our processed food and our snacks and our junk
Yes.
foods and our late night binges and our family gatherings and our overeating and the buffets. And so, but she had her dog died and a few other things. And now
Mm-mm-mm.
she's actually, she was in the hospital for heart failure,
Oh my
uh, from these
gosh.
setbacks. And Jerome, who we all loved on the show, he actually passed away. He had some heart issues. He had a defibrillator and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I almost think he got the information a little bit too late, if that
Yeah.
makes sense. Yeah,
Yes, it does make sense.
yeah,
You
yeah,
know, this is what we talk about every single week and why we are here
yeah,
on this show
yeah,
talking about lifestyle change, literally changing your life
yeah,
and changing the trajectory of your health journey.
yeah, yeah,
Because it really, really can. And we just talked about, I think we said last week or the week before that you can't be playing around with this stuff.
yeah,
You
yeah,
cannot play around with it. Jumping in and jumping out, I mean, the damage that it's doing, if you think about us being sugar addicts from birth, right?
yeah,
And
yeah,
all the damage that has been done to our bodies with us in over consuming sugar. And we
mm,
can just have such a very little bit of added sugar
yeah,
before we're over our threshold, you
yep,
know? And so from birth, but it makes it very difficult. You know, our patterns are ingrained in us as far as like, what do we do when we feel emotional? What do we do when we feel happy, sad? You know, when we're with friends, or we just came through the holidays. All of those things play a factor
yeah,
in making those choices. And really, I say you got to set your face like a flint,
yeah,
like the word says. You got to set your face like a flint. Like, I'm not going back to
yeah,
what I did before.
yeah,
And, getting what, you think about the times that people say, oh, I deserve this.
yeah,
I deserve this break. I deserve
yeah,
this treat. But
yeah.
you do not deserve the outcome that comes
No,
from that.
no, no.
And so, that's what I think about as you're talking about people, falling back in their old patterns. And it's easy to do, and not to say, I mean, I've done it a million times myself, as far as going from diet to diet and, falling back into my old ways. But when you find the truth should make you free. And so basically, that's what we're talking about today.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
All right. So let's talk a little bit about menopause then. So it's a crucial topic. It's affecting, I think you gave the number, like some high, crazy number, billion of women or something like that right
yeah,
now.
yeah,
It's under discussed and stigmatized, right? We do not talk about it. Just like what I want to say for men, we don't talk about testosterone. We don't talk about it because it's like a stigma
yeah,
around it. Same
yeah,
thing with menopause. Like, people getting older and, hormonal changes and body changes. So you said that there was a friend of yours who was dealing with the symptoms
yeah,
of menopause, which
yeah,
drew you to this topic, right?
yeah.
So tell us a little bit about what you're doing with this new series that you're working on. Well, I think it's done. It's
Yeah,
coming soon.
yeah, yeah. It's 99.9% done. We're just adding the credits to it, and there was a few little tweaks in the last episode, and then I'm gonna get all the episodes together and go over it one more time, just in case I see a little tweak here, a tweak there. But it's ready to go. And we just got back from the UK not too long ago. I spoke out there, and we're working on a screening out there in the UK too as well, because we're looking to do a series in the UK on menopause, because worldwide it's an issue and there's just not enough awareness of it. So, we're looking at different options for distribution. I mean, even though I can easily put it on the Amazon Primes or the Tubies and the Apple TV, um,
Mm-hmm.
I've seen, Robyn, that really doesn't do anything for me. It may sound good to somebody else. It may sound good to a sponsor. But when we look at, really trying to reach the people and make a penetration, it needs to hit a lot bigger and deeper. So we've been looking at some options there as far as maybe bringing on a Holly Berry, who is actually, pushing menopause right now, and
Hmm.
she can easily, garner a ton of attention for the series, which it needs. I've
Right.
actually created my own platform now called Revoke.com,
Hmm.
RAVOKE.com, because I looked at the landscape and I thought, you know what, there's space for something that's a little bit more real information, um,
Hmm.
checks and balances, but then also a streaming platform.
Yeah, I'm going to bring this up really quick. I have it
Yeah,
up on my screen, so I'm just going to bring it up so people can have an opportunity to see
yeah,
and go over there and take a look at your Revoke
yeah.
platform
Thank
and
you.
see what you got going on over there. So you can talk a little bit about this.
Yeah, so you might want to exit out of that ad at the bottom, but you can scroll up. Yeah, so no, not that one, right in the middle. Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
this? Okay.
So yeah, we
Ah.
created our own platform because what we wanted to do was bring all of this information, almost like a CNN of health. So you
Hmm.
can come here, you can find information on, if you scroll up a bit, we've got recipes there, we've got information on menopause, on HRT, we've got information on heart disease, everything that you could imagine.
Yeah.
Just like the rest of the websites. But I think ours is actually a little bit more geared toward truth and journalism and honesty. And we're just getting started.
Yes.
We still have a ways to go. I want to bring on some more writers. So if there's any writers out there that want to be a part of this, we'd love to cover some things. But then we have our streaming side of things. So all of
Hmm.
our shows will air there. Uh, as just shared before we went on, we just launched Revoke Studios. So uh,
Okay.
a beautiful. So that's where our shows are. If you see
Yeah.
all videos.
Hmm.
So we just launched Revoke Studio. So we're going to be geared up real soon, within the next probably week or so, to start knocking out some amazing talk shows and high end podcasts. Me personally, I wanted to do it. I want to compete with the Diary of a CEO. Right? He's been
Nice. Yeah. Well, that's a good target because they do a great job.
They
Their
do a
stuff looks
great job.
amazing.
So we plan on competing with that, uh,
Hmm.
and then giving people their own shows too as well, who have a voice in the space. Whether it's we've got a show slated with Dr. Sarah, who obviously was been carnivore for some time. Uh,
Hmm.
we've got some other fantastic shows. We've got Dr. Boz, who's actually local too as well, who's got a
Hmm.
was on Diary of a CEO too as well.
That was
Uh,
a great show, by the way. If you guys have not watched Dr. Boz on Diary of a CEO, you should definitely
yeah,
do it. It's really good.
yeah. So we're gonna crank out some real strong shows as well,
Nice.
and then create some. I've actually got. I'm gonna use my kids, 7 to 8 year olds, to do some healthy kids corner shorts. I'm going to ask some questions like,
Nice.
tell us what makes a salad healthy, and just trying to have them kind of dispel a lot of myths that we think and we know, but we
Hmm.
don't understand. So
Right.
so yeah, we're going to do some really really cool and really great things.
Yeah, that's awesome. So, yeah, you guys go over and check out revoke.com. Lots going on over there. Okay. So, what do you think? What are you hoping that men and women take from watching this new series as it comes out?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think the awareness is key. I
Hmm.
think that the inspiration is key, and inspiration to go and find an expert or a doctor that actually can help you, right? Because a lot of women are going to people and doctors that can't help them. They don't know about menopause. And so they are lost in the wind. They're trying to figure out whether HRT is good for them or whether it's not. Marriages are being broken up because, once again, like you said, we don't talk about this. So there's a stigma. So
Yeah.
men don't understand when women are having some mood swings or some issues or health concerns, and it's like, you got an attitude tonight. You know what I'm saying? What's your
Yeah.
problem? And
Hmm.
so we've been hiding this too long. Um, that's a good question, because I don't think that there's, and maybe I'd like to make that, but I don't think there's a resource where you say, well, what's the next step? You know what I mean?
Hmm.
I almost think that that's what the site should be called. What's the next step in menopause, or something where you can have a directory that links you to experts who actually really want to help and can help you, not just leave you out on the lurch trying to figure out what is next. Because we feature 5 women who are educated, who are very accomplished, and Robyn, none of them knew about menopause. And
Yeah. Most of us don't.
yeah, so it tells you that there's a problem. And when you think, Robyn, there's over $23 billion in digital healthcare advertising,
Mm.
and I want to know where that money is going. Because if there's no information on sickle cell, if there's no information on lupus, if there's no information on menopause, if there's no information really on cardiovascular disease and all of these conditions, where is that money going?
Right. I think the thing of it, Charles, is that there is some information out there, but I'm so suspicious of everything
Yeah.
that is out there now. It's like so many things have been wrong
Hmm.
that, like, almost like everything is wrong now. You gotta figure it out, test it out, try it out for yourself to see what works, because actually we've been fed a bunch of propaganda dogma that is really just incorrect about almost everything in the health related arena. So that is very challenging, I feel. And then the other thing is, for every one opinion that you have, or one chain of thought or way of thinking about a thing, there's different sides of that coin, right? So it can
Yeah.
get really, really confusing.
Yeah.
So yeah, what's next, for almost every category would be really good. Like,
Yeah.
if you're thinking about, carnivore, let's say, how do you find a doctor
Yeah.
that will align with what you're trying to do?
Yeah.
How do you find, as you said, doctors that really understand menopause?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's challenging. It's very
Yeah.
challenging.
Yeah. There is a revolution in a lot of ways. A lot of people have taken to social media and trying to find experts that way. I think, we actually created something called that we're working on, called Versus. I know the
Hmm.
the rap version of that, or the music version of that, with Timbaland and
Yeah.
Swizz Beats. Well, we're going to do that with experts and doctors, because
Mm.
I think there's a lot of misinformation out there, and I want to line up in a cordial conversation two experts that think very differently, and flush this out. Because I hear, some people, let's just say with cholesterol, they say, well, high cholesterol and the good cholesterol is good for you because it protects you from dementia and a lot of other things that they claim is good. And then you hear people say no, like high cholesterol, that stuff that they're talking about over there is wrong, because people
Hmm.
didn't live that long to be able to gauge whether. So same with HRT. Some people say that it's amazing, and it's been too long that the government and people didn't recognize it for what it is. And then there's some people who say no, you shouldn't be on that. You
Yep.
have people. Even today I had Louise Newsom, who's a really big face in the UK in menopause, and I was this close to telling her off, only because she had mentioned. I was in a clip that was featured in the UK, and she says, "Oh, Charles, I don't promote that particular company who pushes these conferences for women in menopause, because they promote vitamins, right?"
Mm.
And once again, we have people who promote vitamins, and then we have people who say vitamins are worthless. So, and I was kind of offended in a sense where I'm like, you know what, it's not about the vitamins. It's about what I was saying. Just because
Yeah.
they happen to work with some clients, people seeing this aren't going to recognize they work with vitamins and supplement companies. They're just hearing
Right.
what I have to say. But then also, not every one way fits everyone. What works for me may not work for somebody else. Whether it comes to veganism, vegetarianism, or even carnivore, right? I mean, some people thrive off of one thing, and some people thrive off of another. So
Hmm.
you at times you kind of got to you got to figure out what works for you, but you got to just recognize that this is very important. And you had mentioned something earlier, and I'm like, you know what, I don't know about you, but and I'm sure you feel the same. It's like every wrong bite of something I taste, I feel like I'm slipping away. I feel like that was one step closer to death. You know
Yep.
what I'm saying? And I'm mad at myself because I'm like, bro, I just felt the inflammation go back up. I just felt, the
Yes.
cardiovascular issues come back to play. This is not to be played with. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
I want to watch my kids grow up, man, and live to an age where I can, say I accomplished some things. So
Exactly.
what we eat is truly killing tens of millions of people, and that's no lie. I mean, all of this heart disease and people dying from diabetes. I just had my cousin who I grew up with, who was in his early late 40s, and
Hmm.
die of, last time I saw him, he was, we talked by Zoom, and Robyn, severely overweight, puffed up, full of inflammation. He had some serious issues, everything from, I think, gout to diabetes to you name it, high blood pressure, and literally, he just died. I don't know if it was in his sleep or
Yeah.
was, but he just died. And
It's so sad when when we see all around us people literally passing away from curable
yeah,
diseases and issues
yeah,
that they're being told the food has nothing to do with it.
yeah,
It's a self-control problem. You don't have good strong will to control yourself with your eating, or it's hereditary. Even they call generational curses and things like that, right?
mm-hmm.
And we say here that it's not the disease necessarily that runs in the family; it's the food.
Yeah,
Y'all
yeah,
been eating the same thing for generations,
yeah,
and that's why you have the same conditions as your auntie and your grandma and your mom and your dad,
yeah,
right? So I hate that. I hate to hear that people have passed away from diseases that can be fixed, reversed with lifestyle change.
yeah,
Um, and as you said, some people are just so far gone already, that when they finally decide to make a change, their bodies have just kind of broken down to the point where,
yeah,
they still have the heart attack, or they still have the stroke, or whatever the issue is, because they've spent so much time damaging the body with food.
yeah.
So what you're saying is so powerful, because it's the food, y'all. And we say that all the time over here.
It's the
It is the food. And you need to be considering the things that you put into your mouth. When you put that food in, I'm calling it food with quotes because a
yeah,
lot of times it's not even meant for human consumption.
yeah, yeah,
But,
yeah,
and your inflammation goes up, well, then the next time, maybe you shouldn't eat that again.
yeah, yeah,
you know when I eat something like mint, and my anxiety shoots through the roof, well, I
yeah,
know I shouldn't eat that anymore,
yeah, yeah,
because that is causing me to go back to where I was.
yeah, yeah. And
Yeah.
I also think, Robyn, there's a form of vanity that we should have that is a good thing. I remember when
Hmm.
I was diagnosed, I think literally, I remember the first thing I did, Robyn, was went home and I looked in the mirror. And I looked at myself and I'm like, holy what the heck is this, bro? I was
Right.
once fit and slim and trim and I'm, what is this? And to let myself go like that, we should have a sense of vanity. We say, no, I don't need to look like this. This is not
Yeah.
how I should be looking. I mean, how many times have we
Mhm.
gone on our Facebook and seen friends and family who we don't even recognize them because they didn't let themselves gain 60, 70 pounds and out of
Right.
shape and ain't working out, eating bad. No, we have to have some vanity where we say, no, I want to remain 25 for in my mind and maybe not fully physically, but yesterday I was doing some lunges and some stuff like that in the studio, and I'm just like, this is what I should be doing, period.
Mhm.
Why did I ever lose this step? Why am
Right.
I not doing the same thing I was doing when I was 16, 17 years? Why am I not still playing basketball that way or running like that or grabbing the football and playing with the kid and having a good game? Why am I not doing these things? So
Right.
all these things play a role too as well. And like I said, if you're listening to this, look and ask yourself, do you have an eating disorder? And
Mm.
that might be one of the first things that you have to recognize, even when it comes to eating healthy, right? Because you could still even do carnivore and still have an eating disorder. And man, I seen a guy the other day. He was going on a lion diet, and
Mhm.
man, his steak was about this thick, and I'm and about this big, and I'm
Mm.
like, bro, I get it, but you know what I'm saying? I mean, that's just it's just a little too much food, right? Too much meat. That is still gonna stick into your gut. So we have to real, and then also, even if you get on that particular lifestyle, if you don't address the food addiction, if you don't address this, it will come back to bite you because you will last for a little while. Then you'll pass Arby's or something like that, and you'll run in there and go
Right.
get yourself one of them melts. And I've done it too many times.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
it literally will set you back, and you'll wish you didn't do it. So what we eat is literally killing us, and
Yes.
um, you have to address it. And remember, it's not about a food addiction for me. I remember when I had and I'll let you jump. I remember when I realized I had a real issue. I was picking up my kid from school. Now we had probably an hour drive back, Robin, and she had wanted something from this place like a cheesesteak
Mhm.
sandwich, and I remember telling myself, "No, I'm not going to get this." I'm fighting with myself the whole ride, literally
Mhm.
an hour. No, I'm not going to do this, and I get there, and I did it with the chili cheese, with the cheese fries and all.
Oh man. Oh
And
man.
and then another time I remember and this is I would do this kind of often. Um, I would go to I'd be up working late, and find myself strutting into 7-Eleven at 12 o'clock at night to get anything that wasn't nailed down, from
Mhm.
patties to potato chips to you name it. And that's when I realized, I said, there's a problem here. And all of this while professing to be health conscious and working with all of these amazing experts about health. And I remember one time I wanted to talk about it, and this was actually around our carnivore series.
Mhm.
I wanted to do a live, and I was too ashamed. And I thought
Mhm.
to myself, I said, how can I be ashamed? Well, I'm asking these people to come on my show and be honest and share their journeys and their hard outcomes. But yet,
Right.
the producer and director is too ashamed to share his failings.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it is hard. It is hard to be transparent
Yeah,
and face the. I mean, I think a lot of times it's our own selves that beat ourselves up over these things, but literally, those foods, the things that you're talking about,
yeah,
are designed to be addictive.
yeah,
And
yeah,
so when you're having those thoughts like fighting with yourself, battling yourself, like I'm gonna take the kids to McDonald's, but I ain't gonna get none. I'm only gonna eat 5 fries.
yeah,
I
yeah.
remember doing that,
Wow, wow, yeah, yeah. Only five. We
five
counting the
fries.
yeah, we counting the number down. Yeah.
Exactly, because they had like 2 carbs each. I'm gonna eat
Yeah,
5.
yeah, 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 yeah. Unbelievable. Yeah.
The food is designed to be addictive. So I find, and I'm definitely a carnivore. I've been carnivore for almost 3 years.
Yep. Yep.
That the noise of the food went away very fast, and I was completely obsessive about food
Yeah.
before I went carnivore. I was constantly thinking about food, worrying about food, talking about going to the store, showing everybody what I ate every day. I mean, like talking to people. Me and my mom had this thing where we would talk back and forth about what we're eating and
Yeah.
all
Yeah.
this stuff. And then
Yeah.
after about 30 days, I realized, wait a minute, I don't care what you ate.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
don't want to talk about that anymore. Can we talk about
Yeah.
something
Yeah.
else?
Yeah. No,
So,
you're right.
yeah.
Yeah. People wake up, and I've done that. You wake up, you're worrying about what's for breakfast, you're worrying about what's for lunch and for dinner. I'm to
Mm-hmm.
the point now, Robyn, where I do a lot of intermittent fasting.
Mm-hmm.
I probably eat maybe once or twice a day.
Yeah. Me too.
If that, mostly it's probably once a day. I would say 85% meat based. So I'm not a full carnivore, but
Mm-hmm.
85% meat based. And I'm almost sick of food, to be honest with you. I can see myself doing, and I have done, 5-day fast and things like that, because yeah, I'm so over what this can do for us,
Mm-hmm.
to our bodies and to our life. And
Right.
we are just consumed with the idea of eating, that it has really taken over all of our lives. And even
Yes.
if you take a ride from, you said you live in, I think, Detroit, right?
Not Detroit, Kalamazoo,
Kalamazoo. And
Michigan.
if let's say you're probably in a little bit more, even in Kalamazoo, if you go from one stop on the freeway or the highway and go down 5 stops, you're probably going to pass 100 fast food restaurants. We can't
Yeah.
go from one stop to the next without there being McDonald's, Arby's, Denny's, all this kind of stuff like this.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable.
It really, really is. It really is. Y'all stay out of those places.
Yeah.
All right, let's go back and to kind of transition back to menopause for a few minutes.
Yeah.
I'm curious to know, what are some of the most surprising things that you learned as you went through this series, from your experts and the participants in the series?
Yeah, I think that, we even had a couple on there that what's the word for it? Same sex couple.
Mm-hmm.
And it's interesting, the dynamic, because both of them could not be in the mood too. It's not just men and women, or men and woman thing. It's two same sexes could be not in the mood, um,
Right.
for to be intimate, and then they're dealing with a lot of mental health um, uh, issues were at play, with almost all of them. Some sort of trauma too as well. Um, I noticed that was prevalent, and which leads to not being able to really understand or have people understand what you're dealing with. And then that could be internalized, and you could find yourself maybe not even being in relationships. One of the black woman on the show, Michelle, sweetheart of a person, I want to, she mentioned she hadn't been in a relationship, I want to say, in 20 years.
Wow.
And menopause and also some vaginal issues have played a role in this. um, but I think what I've noticed the most, once again, is just the disappointing state that these companies are making billions of dollars in some form or fashion. And these women, and when you think about women play such a vital role. You have women
We
who
do.
are married to people who are running the world.
Mm-hmm.
Have women CEOs, women billionaires, women who influence their husbands as judges and political figures. And yet there's little to no information on this condition. So I think that's what really, those few points are really what kind of stood out to me to say this is an issue. And that's why I fight when I create these series. It's and I get fueled over the fight.
Mm-hmm.
It blows me away when I reach out to companies that I feel should be jumping at the bit. Even if they get nothing out the deal, you don't have to, if you're a $1 billion company or even a multi-million-dollar company, you don't have to get anything out this deal.
Right.
Just say, hey, you know what, Charles? Throw our name on a credit as special thanks. That's all we want. We just want
Mm-hmm.
to support. I actually reached out, which is interesting, to that same CEO who helped with the first series, and sent him an email. I said, hey, Mike, you know, diabetes and sleep disorders play a big role, cardiovascular issues, and he replied really nicely, and he said, Charles, man, I love you. You're amazing, but we're gonna kind of we've been focusing on our resources or whatever where we feel that it has more or different impact or more maybe a quantified result. And I kind of,
Mm-hmm.
you know what, that's a bullcrap excuse.
Mm-hmm.
You might make millions of dollars as CEO, millions of dollars. Trust me, I've googled it. He probably make about $3 million a year.
Wow.
Um, you telling me you can't grab $50,000 and you know me and my work to say, hey, you know
Mm-hmm.
what, Charles, we don't want nothing in there. But we do support diabetes, and diabetes and sleep disorders go hand in hand. Just throw our name on that bad boy and keep rocking.
Yeah, I think that that would be great if they do that, but it's always about the bottom line, though, isn't it? It's always about the bottom line. How is this going to make me money?
Yeah.
That's what they want to know. So that's very interesting. So with your show that's coming out, to first of all, tell us when is it coming? Do you know yet? You don't know. You
Yeah,
got to get
no, no, no,
distribution still yet.
no, no. We're gonna, like I said, we created Revoke, and I have to have as much confidence in the belief that I have in Revoke. I spent a lot of money putting it together, and still spending.
Mm-hmm.
If you look at the Zeus network, they're making millions and millions of dollars on trash TV, but they found their audience. And
Mm-hmm.
if we put it on Revoke, remember, there's almost 1 billion women
Yep.
dealing with that. And while we may not have the big budget to market and advertise, it's a small community in a sense, right?
Mm-hmm.
It will spread.
Yeah.
It will spread. And we will have, even if we have 10% of that billion come to the site, you're talking about millions of people, right? And them coming to that site will push the site, will open up doors. So it's better for me to put it on our site than put it on Amazon, where we can't quantify who saw it, how long
Yeah.
they saw it. We won't have email addresses. We can't follow up on anybody. Nobody can reach out and say, hey, we just watched this, we would love to be a part of this. So we're gonna put it on our site. So
Mm-hmm.
I would say we're working on a screening in the UK, but once again, trying to find a couple of small sponsors to just
Mm-hmm.
cover those costs. It
Yeah.
seems almost impossible. So if that doesn't happen, we'll just, probably in the next 30 days,
Okay.
um, we'll put it out. I am going to work with Edna. She's a big PR person out of Los Angeles who represents, a bunch of major celebrities and things like that, and had a good
Yeah.
run with her before. So I may bring her on to do a quick 30-day press launch and go
Mm-hmm.
to talk shows and maybe Tamron Hall and a few things like
Yeah.
that, and
Yeah.
then
That's
go
good.
out and then put it out there.
Awesome. Well, I'm really looking forward to it. I don't know how I found your reverse series.
Yeah.
I just remember watching it, like I was so taken aback by it. It was excellent. It was excellent. First of all, I was like, why can't I be there? That's
Yeah,
really
yeah,
cool.
yeah. Next one.
Costa Rica, yes.
Yeah, next one. We have to do, you know, there's so much information out there. I think we need to do a follow up on a few things that we
Mhm.
talked about before, where and maybe it's being a part of the talk show on Revoke, you know, where we kind of flush out, you know, the truth, the myths, the information,
Hmm.
the disinformation, and really kind of get to the bottom line, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so we're gonna wrap it up. We really appreciate. I appreciate the work that you do.
Thank you.
I mean, I've seen just a couple of your docu series, I guess you call them,
Yeah,
and they have been so good.
thank you.
And so I'm really looking forward to the menopause series. I will be looking for it.
Yeah.
And I just have one last question for you,
Yes.
and I'll let you kind of wrap it up here.
Yep.
So, what is the one message that you want every woman and every person supporting her to walk away with after watching your series?
Hmm. It probably sounds cliche, but there is hope that if they find the right support, that they can get some of the answers needed in their menopause journey. That um, don't let this consume you. The best you can. Talk to your partners, talk to your loved ones, teach your daughters about this. Include men in the conversation because we play a vital role. We need to take the stigma out of this, and that hope is a good thing, and maybe the greatest things. And all good things never die. So hold hope that there's hope. So even to that point, Michelle, the same young lady who I said had the vaginal dryness issues, we had a sponsor on there who had a cream for this and a skincare line for this. And from what I hear, this has changed Michelle's life
Wow.
as far as that goes. So yeah, there is hope.
There is hope, you guys. And so we thank you so much for being here with us tonight. If you're inspired by Charles's work, um, go ahead and take a look at his website, Revoke.
Yeah,
Sign up for the mailing list
yeah,
and
yeah,
then watch for this menopause series. I'm really looking forward to seeing these ladies and to hearing from the experts in this area.
yeah,
All right, you guys. So that's it for Hey Sister Girl for this evening. So you can connect with us on YouTube. You can check us out at Hey Sister Girl on Facebook. And of course, we do have a Marco Polo group for you if you want to have community with us. And so thank you. Let's keep talking, healing, and thriving.
for
All
giving me
right.
love. Thank you, sis.
All right, y'all. We'll see y'all next time.
Bye bye.
Bye.